going on, everybody? It's episode 8, Sunday's Kickback. I'm sitting here with Ron, the ruler.
You already know.
Sitting here with our special guest, Christian Joseph Kenny, or Joseph Christian Kenny, whichever way you want to call it. Yeah, we're sitting here at episode 8, man. Firstly, got our second guest, a Caucasian male. Give us the Caucasian aspect. Last week we had Keyshawn. She had a great view on fatherhood and everything like that. So we're gonna continue the energy. So here we are.
Push that conversation, of course. First and foremost, I would love to have our guest introduce himself because for those of you who don't know, so who is Christian? For the people out there that don't know who he is.
Appreciate you, Ron. Glad you asked. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate y'all in first place. Well, my name's Christian. I was born in Newport News, raised in Arizona. I'm a grad from Hampton University. Got my bachelor's and master's. Ran track, played football. That's how I met Gabe. Running track together, won a couple championships. Built a good little brotherhood.
Yes, sir.
Currently, I work at Finish Line, a footwear and fashion company, and I also coach college and high school kickers and punters. Try to stay active in my community, things like that. I'm just, excited to be here, excited to talk about, what's going on nowadays, things like that. So
yeah, it's a lot going on. You don't just work at Finish Line; you manage your own store.
Yeah.
Don't be modest now. Come on, man. Don't come on the kickback. Be modest. He runs his own store.
People don't want to be talking. Talk they talk.
Whatever, talk your talk. This is where you talk your talk.
You know what I'm saying? I'm on my third store in my third year at Finish Line.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
So trying to be a district manager one day, getting that corporate side.
Yeah. And one thing that we do at the Kickback is before we start off with each episode, we always do a check-in. And because you're the special guest, I'm gonna check in with you first. So how's this week been for you? How's this whole experience 2020 been for you as the person that you are? How you feeling right now?
Right.
Man, personally, I'm doing okay.
Okay.
Little dampener on the world around us, especially with Chadwick passing.
Mm-hmm.
Just the things that are going on in our country right now. It's kind of hard to stay focused and to stay positive, but in times like this, you kind of gotta. I know it's like a Caucasian male, it probably don't affect me too much, but I do, try to empathize as much as I can. So that kind of wears you out a little bit. Did start dieting, working out, so that's been kind of actually helping my mental health as well, not just my physical health.
Okay.
Working out every day, kind of trying to stay driven, stay positive about, every situation. So, I can't really complain about that.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, diet's really important.
Yeah.
That's extremely important. How you doing, Ron? What's going on?
Shit, for me, bro, I'm not gonna lie, this week has been a pleasure for me. I'm just coming off of like a mini vacation, quote unquote.
Where you go?
New York, nothing special, but during the time like this,
that's more than most.
Straight, yeah.
During the time like this, right? It's like, all right, I got out my
Got
environment.
out the bubble. Yeah.
So yeah, I did some shopping there. Came back, so I feel like refreshed. I got a break from work a little bit.
Right.
Came back and was able to just like kind of let go of like the everyday worries that I feel like we all faced with.
Right.
And just kind of just get away from that. And that did wonders for me. So I'm back here. It's the weekend. And
Are you chilling?
yeah, I feel good. Yeah.
You made it, right?
Yeah. How you feeling?
I'm cool. I mean,
You
I
always
say every
cool.
week,
God,
but that's my.
can you
that's
ever
my-
have something wrong with you?
No, I told you I
That's
start
fake.
my day with
That's
prayer.
not realistic.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not realistic.
I'm eating well. Like I don't got nothing to worry about. I'm cool. Like listen. I'm healthy. Like COVID going on. Like none of my friends, families dying. Like really, I can't come in here and complain about nothing. Like I have nothing to complain about. You feel what I'm saying? But personally, like I'm cool. Like
It's a good attitude.
yeah, you know what I mean. I'm positive.
It's
bro.
episode 8 though.
This is episode 8, and I'm
damn
cool
near like-
every
yeah.
time.
It's been like
Everybody that's listening, you
it's
need
been
to
like 13,
check it.
14
You better
weeks,
be like
and he's
me.
been cool.
I'm cool.
Ain't
8
nothing going
weeks in a
on
row. I'm cool.
2020? This is the worst year.
That's what I'm
ever.
saying, though,
least he
bro. Like,
consistent.
I can't come in here and complain about people dying and shit. And what I got going on?
Right.
Nothing. Like
And I feel like that's why I always valued you
Yeah,
being
like-
around me. Like you always have this outlook.
yeah, like
So-
the glass is half full.
Yeah.
Ain't half empty.
Right,
you know what
right,
I'm saying? Tomorrow's gonna be better than today. Like I can't. I'm not. I hate being around people that just so damn negative.
Yeah.
They let everything affect me. Like nah,
Right.
like I'm good.
Yeah.
But my L's is not that big compared to somebody else's. Like that's how I view myself. Like my worst days, some people's best days. So
Right.
call it cocky if you want, but
Yeah.
I'm straight. I'm gonna be better tomorrow. So yeah. So we're gonna hit a couple topics. It's special that You know, I have a really close friend, a brother to me. That's my second guest. You know, like he said, we been teammates. You know, it was funny the first time I met Christian. Like, this motherfucker was talking shit on me.
How so?
So I was a walk-on for the track team, right? I was like a ghost for real. Like, they was going through their own thing. He had a scholarship and everything. He was cool. Like, He was football and track.
Scholarship for both?
Yeah, I think you have. Yeah,
Oh.
I took the L
All-American
freshman year. I took the L freshman year, paper.
Oh, so you were walk-on?
Yeah, walk on to both. Yeah,
and then you got it after that?
Mm,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Walk-on
Even more
story.
respect, though.
Yeah, it was
So-
a good experience.
So I walk on, right? I don't really talk. Like, I have no ground to stand on to talk to anybody.
Right.
I'm
And
just
before
trying
he
to-
start, that's the only reason I really clown him. It's because he alienated himself.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't because he wasn't good.
Okay.
I mean,
So hold it. Was you talking ish because you were in the same boat when he came in? Like, cause he came in as a walk on too.
Nah, Gabe was like weird though. Like Gabe, Gabe was cool once you get to know him. But when he first got there, you could tell he still needed to get comfortable. Like he wasn't talking to a lot of people. You know, like he put his headphones on and go. Kinda do
I
his
had
own
that
thing.
Philly mentality.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't coming here like I said, like in the South, like it's always like, how you doing? Like, what's good with you? Like they all talk to you. I'm coming straight from Philly. Like, we don't do that here.
Right.
Like, we just straight like, you know, head nod if anything.
Yeah.
Keep it pushing. Like,
Yeah.
and I had no ground to stand on with the track team. It's a D1 HBCU. Like,
Right.
everybody thought they the shit.
Right.
So fuck, I look like coming in there talking and like, you know what I mean? I was already forceful. I wasn't supposed to be there anyway.
Right.
So I ain't gonna make it hot. So, you know, as I got better and better at at track practice, you know, Christian was like, "Oh, Gabe talks? He talks? Who is that? He talks?" I was like, "This motherfucker, man!" Like, so we in the weight room and shit. I try to, you know, incorporate myself and shit, you know. So it was funny, man. But you know, I don't even know how me and him start clicking. He'll tell you more. But
Oh wait, hold on. Before we even get into that, like, Christian, like, how did you end up at an HBCU? Like, as
That's
a white
bad.
man in America, how did you end up at an HBCU? I know you say from
or
Newport
why?
News.
Or why did you end up at a HBCU?
She's from Newport News, so it's relatively close. Am I
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
relatively
yeah.
close, but like still, it's still an HBCU at the end of the day. So can you like kind of speak on that?
Great question. It's kind of funny, man. Like I moved here from like inner city Phoenix. Moved to Williamsburg like
Is that
2011.
I'm very
Arizona.
ignorant as far as I know where Phoenix is.
It's
Arizona.
diverse, like-
It's diverse. It's
yeah,
diverse?
very
Okay.
diverse. Like I used to live right across from like Metro City Mall,
Okay.
Metro Center Mall. It got shut down recently. I actually went back and visited it. It got shut down because like gang violence, things like that. But it's a very diverse area, like in terms of Hispanic population, Native American population. So moving to Williamsburg, Virginia, where it's mostly white people, you know, it's very, very different. Especially when they're high up in the, you know, socio-economical ladder.
Okay.
So yeah, came to high school the end of sophomore year. Junior year, you know, peeled around for football. A lot of politics and stuff in that town. Just considering again, you know, it's a very rich white area.
Okay.
They kind of had their people. The parents kind of, you know what I'm saying, had the ins and outs with the coaches, things like that.
Right.
Naturally befriended a lot of people of color, like the black people, Hispanic people. That's just who I was comfortable around. So that's who I became friends with.
Is that who you were friends with back in Arizona?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, that's just like, I grew up in lower income areas, so that's naturally who you're around.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just by the natural layout of things. So got in trouble a couple times. That's on me, but also like it kind of, you know, the coaches kind of thought a little different way about me. I actually had one of my coaches, you know, not gonna name him or anything, but there was an experience where I was playing a particular sport and I had a one-on-one meeting with my coach. He kind of told me like, you're not gonna play D1 sports. Like, you need
This
to,
in high school.
Yeah, this is in high school. And he was like, he's like, you're not gonna play D1 sports, because I tried to quit a certain sport to run track. And he was like, you know, you don't have to act like them, which was like one of the big eye openers for me as to, like, the people. Yeah, he said them. Yeah, this is
Negroes.
verbatim. Yeah, this is verbatim. So yeah, he's like, you don't have. He's like, Christian, you don't have to act like them. And I was like, to me, it wasn't an act. Like, it's just who I am. It's just who I naturally vibe with.
And that sticked out to you right away.
Yeah, that stuck out to me crazy. So I was definitely leaving that sport at the time. Went to track. Coach Mel Jones he's been around forever in Williamsburg. He's been around since like the 1960s. He actually coached Lawrence Taylor. I don't know if y'all know who Lawrence Taylor is. Yeah, he went to Lafayette High School. So he had strong connections at Norfolk State. He played running back at Norfolk State. He was like, you know, just fill out your application for Norfolk State in Hampton. He knew Coach Taylor in the early 90s, early 2000s. So he kind of helped me get in there. I walked on, which was cool, and you know, I don't mind being around, you know, minorities at all. So that's kind of how it happened. I didn't play in high school because of the people I was involved with and the attitudes I had. Granted, I was just a knucklehead, but also, you know.
But going into Hampton, like, you didn't have a scholarship.
Yeah, no.
So, like, what made you choose Hampton as this is the school I'm going to go to?
I didn't have a scholarship nowhere.
Okay.
But I also thought, you know, minority scholarships too. I thought that was a good thing. But Hampton's private, so they only do that at public institutions. So if I would have went to Norfolk State or an institution like that, I probably could have taken advantage of a minority scholarship. Sadly, that wasn't the reality. But I just knew that I had the ends with somebody, so a foot in the door just would help me because I didn't have anything anywhere else. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. I didn't have anything else, so I just needed to, you know, go somewhere where people kind of like looked out for me at first.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the biggest deal. So that's kind of why I went to Hampton. Like, I was comfortable with it, and I just had that little tiny connection that I needed to get my foot in the door. Yeah.
That's good. What are some things you think you learned from Hampton? Like, you have white friends because you went to, you know, fast forward a little bit, you went to James Madison, right?
Yeah.
You worked out there a little bit. That's just literally like 99% white out there. So, you know, in regards with that, like, is there a compare and contrast from Hampton to James Madison?
It's big, man.
Right.
It's big for sure, for sure. I do think it's funny how welcoming black culture can be to you compared to vice versa with white culture. I'll never forget to this day when I first walked into Hartness Hall in Hampton as a freshman. They gave me a little welcome bag. Mr. King was there.
Right,
I know you know my man's Mr. King.
I don't know Mr. King. And for the viewers
well,
out there,
you know what I'm saying?
Mr.
Mr. King, he was an administrator, right? Yeah, for Hampton.
Okay.
He's also a member of Kappa Alpha.
Yeah, he's my frat, but he's you know, he's a
Okay, all right. Anyway, so yeah, that's my man's. He took he made sure to look out for me a little bit when I first got to Hampton. Gave me this welcome bag, bro, and I remember he gave me a do-rag and a wave cap.
You lying.
I swear to God, bro. That's what they did. That's what they did for the freshmen. We had a do-rag, a brush, and
that's what they did for everybody
wave
as a
grease.
freshman.
Swear to God.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And I didn't feel comfortable taking it. But he was just like, no, like, take it. Like, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like that was kind of like a symbolic thing for me. Like, I'm not using that, obviously, because of cultural appropriation and things like that. Like, I don't need waves. But he tried to
clown if you put it on.
You know what I'm saying? Bro. Yeah. But he made me feel like I belonged.
Right.
And I feel like that was really important to me. Like,
right.
I didn't know no one going into that. So, and the crazy part is I didn't even go to Hampton early with the football team. Like, I got called in because one of the other players was ineligible. I got called in like a week before school started, and they were just like, "Hey, you want to come play now?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like, in terms of going to JMU, like, it was definitely different because, you know, there's not a lot of POC there.
Right.
It was different to see everything. Like, this is where I feel like I should have belonged, but at the same time, like, the type of people, like, whether they were super country or super uppity, like, it just wasn't my type vibe.
You can tell they haven't had exposure to black people.
And you've been there. You saw my white friends.
That's why I'm asking, because, like,
they're cool.
Shout out to them. You know, shout out to Bobby. I forget the other people's names.
Bobby,
is
Austin,
my guy.
Hollis, those are my boys over there.
You know, those guys were great, you know, but the other people that we went to parties and stuff with, I was like, oh, hell no, bro.
Yeah?
Like, nah. Like, I'd have lost my mind out there.
For sure.
Like, for sure. Like, the environment's different. You know, like, HBCU parties compared to PWI parties is
irresponsible.
You know, you went to Temple.
Irresponsible, to say the least. I remember.
Okay, so, like, the difference, I feel like, it's like Temple is, like, inner city. Like, that's middle of North
Oh,
Philadelphia.
yeah. Not comparing JMU to Temple at all. Yeah, no. But
so, like, for me, going to Temple, it was like, I'm around a lot of white people, but at the same time, I'm still at home. I'm in North Philly. I could go up the street and, my man's from kindergarten is there. Like, that's what it was like for me. So, like, for you, like, being that in that such a different environment, like, how were you able to, like, adapt? Is it because, like, that's who you were and you were just naturally, like, like, by the color of your skin? Or was it more so, like, I kind of got to fit in.
At JMU or Hampton?
At JMU.
Oh, at JMU, yeah. So definitely had to ease back, maybe with like the Ebonics slang I use and stuff like that. Definitely had to ease back a little bit because like even those people aren't as cultured. Yeah, like they're not as cultured either.
Right.
There were times where like they would kind of step overboard and I had to check them like, that's not my place to say what jokes were and weren't racist.
Right.
But sometimes they took things too far, and I was like, hey, yo, like chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether they were, like, memes or, like, in a group chat, like.
Right.
But you could tell, like, that's that culture, bro. Like, so, especially in a country like that. Like, they're not taught like what's ignorant and what's not.
Right.
And I mean that's the
But
problem.
they know
of
what's
Amer-
ignorant, what's not.
But no,
That's how
the
we know
problem
what's
in
ignorant.
that's
America,
the
what's
whole
not.
idea of ignorance.
That's what I'm saying though. Like
Bro,
these people
they
don't
know
cross
what's
that
what not.
bound.
They know what they would say in front of a Christian, and they know what they wouldn't say in front of us, bro.
You know what's
That's-
right is right and what's wrong
Right.
is wrong, but you also know in your culture. So like Harrisonburg, right? Country,
Mm-hmm.
bumpkin, like uppity white. If you go to JMU, like they know it's acceptable in that culture.
Right.
So therefore, they feel more comfortable saying certain shit. They didn't know me like that, so you know what I'm saying. They
just
had
see
to
you.
learn first. Like
Yeah.
when they started saying that shit, and I did it. They were like, all right, like
They
maybe
just
don't
see,
say
like,
it-
who you
say that
are.
shit around Christian. Yeah, like, and not to say I would cut off like. I would cut them off for the shit, but I'll make sure I correct them. Like, do my due diligence. Like,
Right.
Has there ever been a time where like someone was joking around and then they use like the N word in front of you, like a
Nah,
fellow
I think
white person?
Nah, I think they kind of know better than that. Most people.
What do you mean know better? Like you
No,
mean
like they know better. Like, because well, for
in
one,
front
like,
of you or just like
in front of me
general?
at least. In front of me at least.
How did
I
they
don't
know better in front of you as a white
Because
male?
they know. They just know. Like, bro, like. I mean, not to say like Hampton was my identity, like when I moved over, but they kind of just knew the background I came from. I mean, you can just hear how I talk and things like that and how I dress. Like, I do take a lot from black culture, but at the same time, like, like I have like a little extra in me. Like I remember my coach from high school used to call me like a blue-eyed soul brother.
Yeah.
So like I always kind of felt like that stuck with me. Like, and they can kind of tell that that's the like vibe I gave off. So they knew a little better. Like especially when I would have like black women around me and things like that. Like they kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was different. But like it's crazy the disparity though between PWIs and HBCUs in terms of like comfort and just in terms of culture.
Right.
Like even parties, bro. Like parties would be Henny, Ciroc, twerking.
Right.
You go to a JMU party, it's Coke,
Beer.
what them joints called? Where
Beer
they do
pong.
The beer pong.
The beer thing.
What's the keg races?
Keg stand?
Keg
Keg
races,
stands. Keg stands.
keg races.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
there was
yeah.
one
It's
jump, this
cool
kid
off
jumped
that.
off a roof and like broke the table. Yeah, like it was crazy.
You're not seeing any of that at HBCU.
Oh nah, you're not.
I feel like
bro.
HBCUs are too worried about their look. Like I don't want to wild out that much because that looks embarrassing.
The women definitely
Like,
too. Like
What?
you could definitely tell. Like the women, like the Hampton women,
Mhm.
like they were very uppity. They
Oh,
were,
for sure. Go to school. Go to class with heels on.
yeah, you feel me?
Yeah,
And like they
on
were
a
like, I have
Tuesday,
to,
on a Tuesday.
oh yeah, and they would be careful who they talk to
Heels?
and things like that. Yeah,
Hair done.
Why?
You would never really see. You would never really see
I can't even
sweatpants.
ask y'all why. Y'all not them, but
I mean, that's just the Hampton.
It's a fashion.
Yeah,
thing.
it's a
Like, it
Hampton
was like
thing.
you had to be uppity
you
whenever
just
you were
have
out.
to be like
Dudes, unless
you
you're on
gotta
the
be the best.
Unless
of
you're
the
an
best.
athlete.
bro. Unless you're an athlete, you ain't wearing sweats either.
Yeah, you
Wow.
suit.
Wow,
Cause
really?
you got to keep up, bro. What
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep up, but I'm also had this fresh tech on, Nike Tech sweatsuit.
Yeah, bro, that's the PWI
We had
in
the
you,
we had
bro.
the
Like,
Russell. We had the Russell freshman year.
yeah, we had the Russell. We wasn't wearing that for real unless
switched to Under
unless we
Armour
had a
later on.
game or a track meet.
Track
He
meet,
wasn't
yep.
wearing nothing like that. He was wearing your fit, and then you wouldn't change.
Yep.
There was times we would change twice in a day.
Yeah.
Like that's just
If you had practice,
that's, bro.
yeah, you changing 2-3 times
So
a day.
so one thing I do want to bring to the forefront is like you brought up the fact of like women and like how they've been throughout your tenure at Hampton and JMU.
Mhm.
Like what's your preference? Like do you like black women or do you prefer to go to the white way?
So I
or
don't
do you
wanna-
do you like Chinese women?
I'm weak.
You like to go the right way.
I just want to know. It's just out of curiosity.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Be honest now.
Which is fine. No, I'll be honest.
You got people watching you.
It's, nah, for sure. Sorry, mom and dad.
Right.
Sorry, Mom and
nah,
Dad.
sorry, nah. But nah, like I make sure to not cross the borderline of like fetishizing. So like I definitely do get to know people before you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
But
So you like them all.
yeah, but due to like how I was raised and just like my pops was a hippie, so like my pops was like love everyone, dude. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
so
I'm gonna let him speak,
you know.
but I smell bullshit.
Nah.
Hold on, wait.
Can I
hold on,
work
wait.
up to my
Oh,
point?
let him
Can I
speak
work up
before-
to my point, dog?
before
Like,
you-
all right, so just due to like, me not being raised around white people and me not being raised in like in a richer society, a
Yeah.
more well-off society, like I was naturally around minorities.
Okay.
So that's who I'm attracted to. And I don't want to be like, oh, I love black women because they're so strong and they're so this and that. Even though that stuff's true,
But that can be a fact though. It
no,
really
but
gotta
it could be.
fetishized.
But it's not even like that though, because you shouldn't have to like someone because of the fact that they feel like they need to fight to be strong, and you know what I'm saying. Like,
I disagree.
but-
You like what you like. You know what I mean? Like, don't
Yeah.
like. I feel like that goes back to episode 6 and 7. We talked about the outside look on your life. Like everybody's critiquing you, bro. Like you like what you like. Like it's a sensitive culture we're in. Like the cancel culture, everybody gets offended.
And that same breath, he got to be careful because you got to look.
You do.
Look
Like,
at his appearance.
You do.
But he can't be all like.
Because after this, I can cancel him.
Only like black women because then they're gonna be like,
He didn't say that. He just said he likes black women.
You can cancel me after that. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
After this episode, I say some wild shit, I'm canceled.
Right.
You feel me? But I mean,
That's
I'm
the
gonna
same
be.
as me saying female.
But I'm gonna be honest.
You
like,
don't mean no bad. You don't mean no
Yeah.
wrong.
No, I don't. And I mean, I think you can tell I'm genuine. Like, I don't fetishize over black women, but like, it's just what I was raised on. Like, I relate. I don't relate to Becky and Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Becky and Starbucks.
You know what I'm saying? I just
Karen.
don't. Yeah, you feel like what are her and I gonna talk about when we sit down and talk? Like, we're gonna talk about your father's yacht and my little hand me down Pathfinder 1991 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So. It's different. Like it's just when you're raised around something like that's who you gravitate towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean it was pretty hard at JMU then.
So
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, sorry, mom and dad.
Stop saying sorry.
Body count or like dates and dating things like that went severely down when I moved to Harrisonburg, just because of the selection of women. But like also like it was all majority white women. And,
did you have a problem with that?
He leaned in and said this shit.
I don't like blonde white girls, and that's like 90% of
Sorry, Becky.
women. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But so yeah, that didn't work out for me at all.
Oh, man.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I kind of chilled when I was there. That was like my getaway time because like JMU is in the middle of nowhere. So I did try to focus on more than women when I went there. After college was over, like you definitely got to reinvent yourself and find your identity all over again.
Oh, for sure.
That's kind of what I used
For
that.
sure.
that
Yeah, I
time for.
definitely remember coming up there because of that storm. Hampton got evacuated one semester. I think it was like fall semester.
Fall semester, yeah.
Yeah, it was like beginning of fall. I had to get evacuated, and he was the closest thing to me. So I drove up all the way up the mountains, stayed up at JMU. Bro. It was, I couldn't believe where I was driving, bro. It was literally fog everywhere.
How far is it?
It's about 2.5 hours from. It's actually the funny thing is it's the same distance from Philly to Hampton. Like it's 2.5 hours from here, 2.5 hours from Hampton. It's literally in the middle.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, it's
Hampton
weird.
is not no 2.5 hours.
Nah,
No.
It's
If
probably
I'm coming
three.
from
It's closer to
Hampton
three,
and going
bro.
to JMU, it's 2.5.
Oh.
If I'm leaving JMU going to Philly, it's 2.5.
All right, gotcha.
That's what
Yeah, it just depends on the traffic too, though.
But
You gotta go past
I
traffic.
definitely see the difference that he was talking about. You know, as far as like everyone's the way they act, it's just the whiteness, the white privilege. It's amazing. You know what I mean? And it's that's why I really want to bring him on because he has both outlooks: HBCU, being Caucasian, and going to a PWI.
Yeah.
Now, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
You know, and you know me and him clicking so well. I mean, me and him going on road trips to North Carolina A&T. Done Bahamas, done Miami, like we done everything. Canada.
Because I have to say this because this was literally the episode before. This
What?
man Gabe tried to argue me that he wasn't not comfortable, but
Here
he
we
didn't
go.
grow up
Here
around
we
white
go.
people. Your best man's is white, and then on top of that, you went to HBCU, connected with a white dude, and y'all was cool.
I connected with one white
Well, I'm
dude.
about to say,
And
yeah.
how many white dudes is at Hampton?
One.
And you connected with that one.
There's a lot of white.
You can kick rocks, my brother.
I'm about to say, yeah, probably the contrary belief, there are a lot of white people in Hampton, but like
there
most
is?
of them are like
European.
RTC or like European, yeah.
Okay.
So
So they're like foreign exchange students.
yeah, exactly.
Because
Yeah.
of the team,
Okay.
where they got like a academic scholarship. So
Okay. Alright, cool.
We don't get a minority scholarship.
Because we're private.
Yeah.
It's a public thing. I guess you got to be like a quota.
But it's
You're a
more.
public
Actually, it is more and
institution,
more every year though.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh my gosh, I racked up like $60K our freshman year just with
Yeah.
that interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
bro,
expensive.
that's definitely why I want to bring you on here, bro. You really have a lot of outlooks. So I definitely want to hit like what's going on in the world. Like, what's your outlook on like the movements, like the protests? Because the reason why I'm asking you is, you know, I work at a predominantly white corporation, Fortune 500 company and everything, and I'm like one of 5 black people in the company. And you know, every time we bring up these protests, they look at me for the answers.
Yeah.
Like I'm the black voice of everybody.
Uh-huh.
And
tired of
yeah, I'm very tired of it as well, but I can't. I mean, I'm the only one there. So, you know, a lot of my coworkers, you know, I'm not faulting them. They have their own opinions. You know, most of them are Republicans, conservative, and you know, we will start by the statues, right? Christopher Columbus statue, and I'll be, you know, just bored. You know, you're in through the day trying to make the day go by, and you're like, yo, like, what do you think about the statues? Like, you know, there's white people in South Philly, like
That's you
trying to take
bringing
us-
it up.
Yeah. And so they'll be like, I don't get it. Like, why are you trying to take down a statue? That's taking away our history. You know, and I really don't want to combat. I really just want to know who I'm around. So I'll just ask questions and wait for the response. And I'll be like, okay. just so I know who I'm around, just so I know your temperature.
Like a temperature check.
You know what I mean? Like, just so I
Yeah.
can check your temperature.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to reach out to you and like, yo, like, what do you think about the protests? Like, what is your outlook on that? And the statues, like, we'll tackle one thing at a time. What do you think about statues coming down?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's acceptable, bro. Like, at the end of the day, history was never made by people who were well behaved. You know what I'm saying? So, history was never made by people who followed the status quo. That's just how it is. History's history, bro. Like, you're not gonna not remember that historical figure. So, and at the end of the day, like, if it was built upon racism and it was built upon, violent acts, then why does it matter if a piece of stone come down under a person?
Right.
Like, I think it is a good representation of us moving forward. Like, I definitely think that it's kind of symbolic. Like, I get it, and I totally support that. Like,
because their argument was, not all of them, but some of them arguments was that don't take it down, but remove the plaque and change it to what it really was. Like, such as far as like Robert E. Lee. Don't take it down.
So what you gonna
No.
put that plaque?
I'm not agreeing. I'm not agreeing with this one. I'm not agreeing with this one. I'm not agreeing with this one.
oh my God.
But they said about this both. So they were like, all right, Christopher Columbus, don't take it down, but wrote what he really did.
They
Like-
not about to write what he
Right, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
whitewash. 'Cause
Right.
rape and
whitewash.
kill
Yeah.
natives.
Y'all
Come
know-
on,
y'all
bro.
know
But that's
about
not
to
how
do
they
that
looking.
on
That's
there.
not how they looking.
Yeah.
That's history. Then what are you gonna take down the damn, what I'm drawing a blank.
No.
Mount Rushmore, like the
I know it's all Mount
yeah,
Rushmore with
yeah,
faces.
yeah.
Yeah,
Then
I
what
heard
are you
people
gonna take
talk about
that down?
that.
Yeah.
you gonna
I'm
take
like,
Abe
well,
Lincoln
maybe
and all them
because
now,
it's
yeah.
on Indian reservation land. Like, I mean,
American Indian reservation
like,
land,
yeah,
dog.
So,
And I gotta touch on that too. A lot of people don't like give it a shout, but like Arizona, I grew up next to reservations,
Right.
Navajo, Apache reservations, bro, and like this people's indigenous native land, and you putting them in trailer parks,
Yeah.
and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy.
It's really
crazy.
crazy.
And we're tripping about taking statues down.
It's crazy.
And it's
but we
crazy
trip about
how,
putting masks on. So.
Oh
I mean,
well, yeah, but
like, we
yeah.
trip
I'm
about
about
like-
you know they're not about to follow that. But it's
Yeah,
crazy
like-
because like history gets so whitewashed, dog. Like we like white people.
So
we came
whitewashed,
from,
man.
I'm saying we came from a whole entire different
Yeah.
continent, bro, and really
Yeah.
messed a lot of shit up, and we expect people to just, you know what I'm saying?
No.
I get it though, because at the end of the day, like you have to be understanding that the white people, they came over, Europeans came over. They took over and they started a country and they started governments and they started policies that were written for white people. So systemically and systematically, like anyone else
It's
was
always
meant to
gonna
fail.
be
But
It's
I don't,
meant to
I don't,
fail.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
I
so-
understand that, but I don't think that gives them the right to eradicate everything.
No,
that was
but you
prior
gotta understand
to.
why you gotta understand why they subconsciously think that.
All right, so
'Cause-
look, so like from my perspective, and this is what I'm speaking on, it's very sub level, like surface, scratching the surface, and not really getting deep. But as a black man, inner city, recruited for lacrosse, went out to Wisconsin, and they're like, "Oh, you're the black kid that plays like the white sport, lacrosse. That's the white sport."
even though
And
it's
I'm
not
like,
a white sport.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, hold up, whoa, let's backtrack. This is not no white
that's a
sport.
Native
This is a
American.
native sport.
Right.
This is and even the word Native American, I feel like that just like undermines like, no, there was no America before they got here. They are natives. This is the native of the country. Like
Right.
you saying Native American is low key. I feel like it would be low key offensive to them. I can't really speak on that. But for me, it was like, bro, you're this black dude and you're playing this white sport. I'm like, yeah, F you. It's not a white sport.
It's
Actually.
closer to you than it is to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. And that's why I got the tat that I got.
Because
So-
I feel like things are taken so to date. Like, you're just marking it as a white sport because of now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because predominantly white people play it. You know what I'm saying? Like, one, they don't give a lot of scholarships to a lot of schools for minorities for lacrosse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You went all the way to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you like, that's out the way. So more African Americans going to football, basketball, and predominantly black sports so they can get about where they're at. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, it's a white sport now because y'all had the money to do that.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have that money for it to go all the way to Wisconsin for free. You know what I'm saying? And play that. Or anywhere for free.
The initial funding that goes
Right.
into lacrosse, like
Yeah.
the stick itself, the lacrosse
Yeah.
stick itself is $100+.
Right.
Yeah.
What kid? What
Coming
inner city
from
kid have that?
poverty, you
Right.
mean versus $100 versus a 50 pair of cleats, $50
Right.
pair
Well,
of cleats.
it's a sport that
It's
a
very
sport,
clear
yeah,
difference.
Yeah, it's a sport that was
That's
meant
facts.
to alienate minorities,
For
though.
sure.
Like, especially like with travel teams and stuff like that. People don't understand that. Like even with the Negro leagues and stuff like that. Like that stuff was meant to alienate. Like there's a lot of, again, like even in sports, there's a lot of systemic actions that that try to, separate people
Yeah.
from certain opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think we do overlook that,
So, no, the question is, you're for taking the statues down and just like being
Yeah,
fair
hell
to
yeah.
people that ask for it.
Yeah, no question. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you have a right to express yourself. This country was literally founded on expression and revolt.
Yes.
So why are we tripping about it? Because it's not a
'Cause
white
we're
person
moving
doing
forward, and it's not moving
Yes.
forward to the.
That's not-
To
you know what I'm
answer your
saying?
question, yes, that's the
That's
exact
exact-
reason why we not
it.
tripping
Well,
on
yeah,
it.
but that's what I'm
Because
saying.
it's black people
Because
doing
black
it.
people do it. It's crazy. Like, this whole entire country was founded on revolt, bro. From the British. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't want to follow the shit that they were putting forward. But yet, we're going to persecute other people for trying to do the same thing.
Right. So what I gotta ask you now is to go deeper since it's like more current, like the shooting of Jacob Blake, and the 17-year-old that came across state lines with the AR-15
Yeah.
in the same state, same city.
Crazy,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you
Drove-
Walking past
drove
cops.
to
Right,
come to
right.
the-
So how do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like it was more so warranted because, well, a lot of people are saying like, even if you look under all these captions on Instagram, a lot of people are saying, well, if you don't resist, then that wouldn't happen, or like
Yeah.
you shouldn't have had all them. He was a felon.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's a rapist. Like, why are we feeling bad for a rapist? Like,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's
you
easy.
feel what I'm saying?
That's an easy answer, though. Yeah, like,
It might be for you.
But
But it
for some people, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy because I actually had to unfriend like hella people on Facebook because I saw they were like, I guess they uploaded like a screenshot of the shooter. I guess someone was trying to shoot at him first or something wild. And
They were trying
like,
to whoop his ass.
Yeah, and they were
He's
like, he had a right
antagonizing.
to shoot him. Like, he was self-defense. But I'm
What?
like, bro, you drove across state lines to come to get in the mix. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
To
you
protect the
you
store.
were
Talking about
looking for trouble.
protect the business.
You were looking for trouble, dog.
Come
But
on,
anyway,
bro. Don't nobody
yeah.
pull up with a machine gun looking to protect the business.
Assault
It don't
rifle
matter.
to
It
protect
don't-
somebody you don't even know with
Yeah.
your whole family.
You
Your
were,
family
you,
was
you
there.
were the aggressor there because you drove. You had the, you know what I'm saying, aggressive action to drive across state lines and come to a city you're not even from. But in terms of Jacob Blake, what was done was obviously wrong. There's no justification for that. If you're a trained professional, police officer, upholder of the law, it doesn't matter what your past is. Like,
Yeah.
you still have right to process. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
due
in
process.
court of law. Like, yeah, and he wasn't given that opportunity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And regardless of who he was in the past, no action you do should result in 7 almost
Shots
lethal
in the
shots
back.
in the back. He's like, God's grace,
He
he
even
survived.
died.
It's not even no
paralyzed.
almost
And
lethal. 7 in the back.
It's crazy
Yeah,
because I
you
could
Come
wanted
have.
to
on,
kill-
bro.
you
That's
wanted to kill
7
him.
shots in a human
He
being.
wanted to. He was probably the officer was probably surprised. He's
And it wasn't at no
You know what I mean?
distance. This was close range.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't
Right.
like
And let me tell you, bro. Like, I know y'all see the post where they're like, "Oh, well, he had a knife on him."
He
For
didn't have-
one,
he had a knife in his car.
I googled it like
He had a
through
knife in
through
his
about
car,
17
bro.
pages. There was no knife on it. It was his keys.
But the,
But this is the thing, bro.
Yeah, go
Like,
ahead.
I put a post up about it on Facebook, and it's funny because again, white friends, just gotta keep unfriending them as I go.
That's a shame.
He says, and I don't think he realizes like the subconscious prejudice when he talks, but he was like, even though there was a knife, he didn't deserve to. I'm like, the fact that you even had to bring up, even though there's a knife.
Right. Like,
To
you're just trying to
justify,
water it down.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to water it down.
Yeah.
He was standing up for it, but he was watering it down.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like, I think,
He probably thought he was doing something.
yeah,
'Cause-
that's what I'm saying. He thought he was like, oh yeah, even though it was a knife, like, I still think that it shouldn't have happened. Like, no, it shouldn't have happened. Point blank.
Period.
Period.
No,
What's
you
wrong
don't
is
have to
wrong.
write a paragraph.
If you're a
Because-
trained
because look,
professional, yeah, like that situation shouldn't
When you
happen.
bring up like these other scenarios in which white men go into these other different establishments and gun down all these innocent people.
Yeah.
No one's saying even though he had an AR-15, even though he went into this South Carolina church and killed 8 people, he's like no one's
That's,
saying that.
that's what they said about the shooter and that just happened. They pulling up pictures of him taking graffiti off of walls.
They don't say even though.
But they say this aspiring cop.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They give them positive titles.
Yep. To water it
grade
down.
A, former grade
Yeah.
A student.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Former
you know
All-
what I'm saying?
former All-American.
But
Yeah.
then when an
Oh,
innocent
exactly.
kid who's coming from the corner store
Yeah.
with an Arizona iced tea
Former felon.
and some Skittles,
Thug.
a former thug,
Or
was walking
if
through
he doesn't have a
character.
record, previously was kicked out of school.
Yeah, that's
Or
that bullshit.
Previously had 10 detentions in a row.
That's that bullshit.
Like, come
That's
on,
not
bro.
funny, but
and
it's
what I
just
have to do
like,
touch
yo.
on is like the Blue Lives Matter aspect. Coming from
Oh my
myself, who I aspire to be in law enforcement. That's my end goal. Like, I was a criminal justice major and everything. That's always how I saw myself, being protecting and serving. There is no such thing as Blue Lives Matter, bro. Like, you're not blue.
It's not life.
Like,
That's the-
you know what I'm
that's the
saying?
problem.
Like,
Blue is not life.
you are black or white or brown.
Yeah.
You're not There's no blue lives, bro. First of all, when you sign up to be any type of law enforcement, you sign a dotted line. You go through screen checks. You go through questionnaires. You know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
That's why you go to so long trainings. Like, I don't understand what people don't get, that officers of any caliber go through weeks, months, sometimes years of training. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into. So stop trying to get these officers outs that are not doing their job correctly, because it's embarrassing for people like myself that really want to be in there and doing right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a prejudice bone in my body, so when I get into law enforcement, I'm going to be upright by everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I hate seeing Blue Lives Matter, bro, because you're just giving somebody out. You just copped off of Black Lives and all that. You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to disregard. Like when I saw that post on New York, NYPD, Blue Lives Matter, they started it. They got shirts and everything. They were selling memorabilia and everything, merchandise and everything on the website.
Yeah.
Like, how disgusting is that,
I
bro?
think what
like,
you was trying to say is, though, like, it wasn't made for, like, singular solidarity. It was made in terms of, like, revolt. Like, Blue Lives Matter was made in revolt of Black Lives Matter. It wasn't made because...
Like an enemy. One versus one thing. Like,
it wasn't just made out of random.
Yeah.
Like, it was made in
you weren't thinking about Blue Lives
in
Matter
response to
all,
something
bro.
else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to say I understand, because I don't. But I think I may see where they're coming from as far as Blue Lives Matter. Like, at the end of the day, like, regardless of race, like, police officers throughout the United States deal with a lot of crime, and they deal with a lot of death. Like, that's the nature of your job. Like, if you're gonna protect those who are doing right, and you have to, like, go against of those who are doing wrong, you're gonna deal with some controversy. You're gonna deal with some type of combat. You know what I'm saying? And in that same breath, a lot of them have fallen. So I understand what they're saying, I think, when they say Blue Lives Matter. But when you push that initiative, when Black Lives Matter is being pushed at the same time, it almost like it's like that antagonizer.
Right.
It's like
what
that,
I have to say is,
that
bro,
negative.
Yeah.
if you have a problem with people just saying Black Lives Matter,
You're the problem. You're the problem.
Just saying Black Lives Matter. You know, I was thinking, like, bro, why are Black people always going after the bare minimum? Like, civil rights. Like, we had a whole movement for people being civil.
Yes.
You know what the word civil means? Like, we're just trying to be civil.
Yes.
You
like,
see that, John, right?
Like, you're just trying to be civil.
Matters.
And then matters.
Matters.
Like, you know what I'm saying? We're not going after the big shit here. We're going after matters and being civil.
Yeah.
And that's always been a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now people are bringing up Martin Luther King. We have no problem with Martin Luther King way. You shot him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He died. You know, Malcolm X.
But remember,
he was shot.
He caught me in that joint. Remember, because I was like, because I talked about like MLK, I was like, well, look at, you know what I'm saying? But it made sense when he was like, bro, like even MLK, like, you know what I'm saying?
Bro.
And then our friend E, shout out to Emmanuel. He brought up a topic. We have a group chat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We talk about all types of shit. We talk about, funny shit, serious shit, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like this conversation we're having right now always goes on.
Always.
Okay.
This is why I asked Christian to come on, because we always have these type of talks.
Mm-hmm.
So, E was like, yo, like, we were talking about Black Lives Matter movements. And
we was talking about protest. Remember, we was talking about violent protests and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, but then he kind of brought something to light.
So, like the rioting and stuff?
Yeah, because at first I was upset. Like, I actually had one of my close friends, like his private business was like looted.
Yeah.
Kind of upset me.
And you
not
were
gonna lie, bro. I was upset about that too.
You was like what? Like why the hell are you doing this?
You feel me? But at the end of the day, like I said, like rarely do the well-behaved make history. And like you need to open people's eyes. I mean, at the end of the day, things are things. To get your message across about lives, those things can be lost. I guess I felt more heartbroken for my personal friend that it's personal.
Riots are just the actions of the people that are unheard. You know what I'm saying? Like we can talk about it, we can post about it, march about it all day, but you really haven't seen results until we start breaking shit up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
but I'm also I was against it. I know people that own private businesses that their stuff was ruined.
Yeah.
And because we're in such a pandemic, you ruin their business. They can't get back on their feet because they ain't had the money from the get-go. They were just making it by off the strength of the pandemic. So I was upset on that personally, but I get it. Here and there. But it's unfortunate,
I don't.
What?
And I think
what?
I don't get it. I don't get the understanding of like why certain people are upset. And maybe I may be in the minority as this, but like the way I view it as is like if you do all the peaceful shit, right? Like you do the sit-ins, you do the peaceful rioting, you do the.
You don't get why people are upset about the riot.
Yes.
Okay.
Like after everything that could possibly be done, you do it in the abidance of the law.
Right.
if after
Kneeling,
all the
all that shit,
all the
yeah.
kneeling, after all the peaceful, Kaepernick kneeling, all that, what else do you expect from a people that's being murdered day
Right.
after day?
Right.
Like, what do you expect? You expect them to just keep taking it? Cause for me, I'm looking at it as like, eventually, like it's gonna be another civil war. For me, that's how I view it. Like, and you can look at history, all that. Like, whenever a people try to revolt, there's always been bloodshed. You can look at the Civil War, bloodshed. Revolutionary War, bloodshed. Whenever a people tried to revolt from another people, there's always been bloodshed. So then when you look at rioting, not necessarily bloodshed, I'm talking about burning down of businesses and stuff like that. Okay, that is like, it's scratching the surface level. I fear that it's going to get to a point where there's going to be an all-out war. Like, okay, if there's a cop patrolling my neighborhood for no reason, he might get shot at just because he's in my neighborhood. And that's how I feel. And I'm sure I'm not the only one like that, but that's just how I feel. And
That's
like,
a legit feeling.
Huh?
That's legit, bro.
It's
That's
a legit feeling because I've spoke to other people who may be more extreme than that. Like, and you see groups on social media like that. People who what's the mountain that the KKK was founded on? They charge the mountain with their guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I saw that.
You see more extreme groups of that. But that's just how I feel. When people say, like this rioting, it's a shame, it's blah, blah, blah. Yes, but in that same breath, it is a shame. I'm not disagreeing that it's not a shame. It's a shame that we have to get to this point. But I also feel like in that same breath, like, it's very much
Right.
necessary.
I have to be, the other side of that voice. That's what the podcast is for.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like the rioting is always happening in our neighborhoods, bro. We're ruining our own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talking about, oh, there ain't no more jobs. Bro, you just destroyed the supermarket.
Yeah.
You just destroyed
Yeah.
the other bro, we're breaking, not everyone. So I got to watch that.
But we're breaking into the mom and
We're
pops.
breaking into those stores that can't get back on
In
their
our
feet that are
neighborhoods,
ran by
yes.
our people.
And that's
That's why I'm a little upset about that
I'm
because,
gonna agree
bro,
with you with
because
that.
at the same breath, we're talking about Black Lives Matter, black business, support your brothers, support.
I'm
You
not
just
disagreeing
destroyed the
with
black.
that.
You just
I'm not
destroyed that
I'm
junk,
not
bro.
disagreeing with that.
You
Yeah.
robbed. You ain't just destroyed. You robbed it.
Please
But
don't
can
get
I-
it confused. Please don't get it confused.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is, in that same breath, that is what's going to take to get the. That's what's going to take to get the attention.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna
So
say.
even though we're not going into these white neighborhoods and rioting in their stores, okay, yes, like we may be wrong for that. Like, you're in your own neighborhood. This is the mom and pop that's been supporting it, that's been there for 20 years.
Right.
You just went in and rioted it. But if he wasn't doing that, would we get the same attention from the entire U.S.?
No. And that's what I was gonna say.
Would we get it? I
I
don't
don't
think
know,
we
bro.
would. So that's what.
I'm
That's a
gonna
hard pill to
be
swallow.
real black and white with it.
Okay. Please.
If you oppress a group, like systemically, violently, historically, like any group, bro, and say like flip it around, like just hypothetically, say America was mostly made of black people and white people were the oppressed, they would do the same shit, bro. Like they would loot the neighborhoods, they would do what
We
they have to
seen
do
it.
to get by. Like, you know
We
what I'm saying?
seen it.
And I feel like we judge that out, but at the end of the day, we are creatures of survival. You know what I'm saying? So like. It's crazy, like, we judge minorities in lower income communities and shit for selling drugs or being violent or doing this, but like, what would you do if you were in that situation?
They don't know. They don't know that.
They don't understand.
The whole
White
entire
people don't
Boston Tea
understand
Party
that.
was a
White
riot.
Right.
That's what the Boston Tea
History-
Party was.
history-
They were
History is
oppressed.
always
They was
about
an oppressed group.
revolutions,
And they,
bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
And they
that's what
made
the
a
Boston
statement.
Tea Party was.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
but,
tea
but,
is
when,
like-
but when
tea
it
is-
comes to the
tea-
African American people, slowly roll. You already had. You know what I hear? I mean, you
Because
had a
behind the
black
bar.
president. I mean,
Right?
Yeah, like, I mean,
that's what
come
we gave.
on.
We gave you black president for
You
8
still
years.
had to play the rules of the game.
Yep.
That was
Couldn't even do certain
the
confined
things that
to
I
what he
hear,
could
the
really
things
do.
that I hear that try to me a little bit at work is, I mean, we're coming. America is the greatest country in the world, which I agree with. But like, don't try to use that as a muzzle. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Or you don't have to be here.
I never heard that one. I never heard that one
I've
in
heard
person.
that. Yeah, you heard that.
I never heard
That
that.
is a
No, I've
common
heard it,
phrase.
not in person. I'm talking about
Oh,
things I
yeah,
hear.
I'm
I'm talking about the things I hear in person.
Okay.
A lot of my coworkers, they try to coworkers and other friends, try to bring up the fact that we're so much better than all these other places, which is true. But it's like we hold ourselves to a standard. We always say America is the greatest country in the world. We're this and we're that. We have our own problems, so why can't we judge ourselves
Yeah.
like that? Like, why just because we say we are, don't mean we are. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that want to leave this motherfucker right now, bro, because of the way they're getting treated.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so well, I don't know, are we the best? I mean, look what I can't say too much on what I want to say it on, but we have a lot to work on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
as far
we
as
have
the
we have
people.
a lot to work on.
A lot to work on.
And like you see it within within these billion-dollar corporations. Like look at the NBA. This is an international corporation, you know, all over the world, and you have these players and teams who decided to just neglect the playoffs, which is like that's what the NBA is. People look forward to the playoffs. They decided to sit out. Why? Because you see all this injustice, you see all this civil unrest, you see all the.
So how you feel about that sitting up?
What, as far as
NBA?
For me, like, I think that it was very necessary. However, I have trouble with players like Kyrie Irving, for an example, because he made it very vocal that he didn't even want to participate in it to begin with. I think that
Participating what, the season? Right.
just like the postseason
Right.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what good is it if you're not going to use the platform that you have? Like, you mean like Kyrie Irving is a very prominent NBA star,
Mm-hmm.
and him voicing his opinion is very, endearing for the culture. So when he decides to not use that platform and kind of sit out, it's like, bro, you're not even really using the things that you could be using that the average African-American black person or person of color in America has.
Right.
You're not using it. So you sitting out completely is But for the people like, Giannis Antetokounmpo or LeBron James or Damian Lillard, whoever you want to name, those people who are deciding to play and they sit out, I feel like it speaks volumes to
Yeah, it speaks to higher volumes.
to the shit that's going on.
That's another thing about LeBron. Like, people criticize LeBron, especially where I work at. They hate LeBron.
Why?
Because
Bro, there's
he's
literally nothing
he's
bad
too
you can speak
vocal.
about LeBron, bro.
Well,
This man has been in the
I mean, look-
limelight since he was
Bro,
17.
I agree.
Never
Bro,
been caught up in his family.
people bring
Never
up
been
China.
cheated.
People bring
Never.
up, the whole argument is China now because
'Cause it gets
he gets
political.
all his stuff from China, and you know how what they say about
Welcome to
America.
America.
Communist, bro.
Communist.
Welcome to America. Everything
Communist.
from America is made in China.
Yeah.
Right.
Kick rocks.
But
Really, anything here is
the
made.
arguments that I've researched before this episode was just like him saying anything political. It's like, well, okay, LeBron, you're all about
Shut up and
you
dribble
know,
a basketball.
Not even that. You're all about human rights, but you get your stuff from China, and it's children, slave workers, and stuff. So
It's
what
not
do
his
you really
fault,
care
though.
about?
It's
It's not
Nike's
his
fault.
fault.
Yeah,
But that's the
what do you
big
mean?
thing that people just discrediting LeBron for. LeBron can do anything he wants in the world.
Yeah.
Schools that he opened up, paying for families, giving money to charities, his whole career.
I just think that
You know
shows
what I'm saying?
volumes to like.
Voting programs.
Voting
Yeah, he started
programs,
opening
like,
up
you know what I mean?
stadiums
Like,
so
he's done-
people
he's
could
done
vote
X,
for
Y,
him.
and
Yeah,
Z.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Programs that get them
I just
involved.
think that shows volumes to the color of his skin. To be honest.
Another thing they bring it up.
Because if a white
Well, I
man
mean,
did
that's
that,
the thing.
if a white man did that, it would not be. Well, you get all your stuff from China.
Oh my God, it's so amazing.
You get all your
Yeah.
stuff from
It's because he's
China.
black, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Exactly.
It don't- and that's like the sad reality is like, and I mean, just being honest, like, not from my perspective, but just from the perspective of the majority, like, you're black. You're always going to be black. It doesn't matter if you're
Right.
the most
Yeah.
amazing athlete in the world, if you're a president or whatever. Like, and that's the problem. That's the problem that we got to solve. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
So,
shit.
so,
You know?
so what about the people who I feel like who are like teetering that line? Like they may not be all the way like, racist all the way to the right,
Mhm.
but like they're also not like all the way to the left, and they're just very much so silent.
Okay.
And I'm talking about like the white people who are silent.
Yeah. I mean, if you're silent during this time, you're compliant, which means you're cool with racism. Like, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Mm.
Like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And,
You're just
and
going through the motions.
I'm saying, and white people, this is a message to you, especially like a lot of my white peers that I be unfriending on Facebook and shit, and the ones I even like grew up around or whatever. Like, if you're quiet, you're racist. Like, I mean, that's just really what it is. Are you okay with it? And you may not be racist, but shit, you're okay with it. You're
Yeah.
enabling it. Like, you're creating a culture where people are comfortable to say, perform racist acts. Like, that's just what it is. You know,
But-
I mean, we
but
can be
say-
honest.
but
Like
say-
what they've been
say-
saying, it's not enough to not be racist.
But
You
but
gotta
say for the
say
man, say for the man who grew up in that West Virginia area that went to JMU, where you're, and they're not racist. However, they just don't have the courage to speak out.
Then you're a pussy.
Well, I mean, that's really what it is, bro. Like, 'cause deep down inside,
Like
we all
what?
have, we
Like-
all have that.
Okay.
What's that called? Like, it's not an ego, but it's something else.
What?
But you know, you're emotionally intelligent enough to know what is right and what is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And deep down inside, like from when you were born as a kid, even if your parents taught you or not, you knew certain things were right and you knew certain things were wrong. And that's really what it comes down to, is like having the strength to fight that. Like whether you're using your platform,
you have the courage enough to speak
conversations.
up.
Like you don't have to you don't have to flame people on social media. But what about those conversations in closed corridors? You know, like that's the ones you have to have.
Are you sitting in the car? Are you with people that are just blasting the N-word or other slurs? It don't even got to be the N-word. Other slurs, you know, anti-Semitic things or anything like that. Like, what are you saying? Are you standing up for what you believe in? Mm-hmm. Because if you're not, then what kind of man are you? What kind of woman are you to really be sitting there and talking about Black Lives Matter? Do that? Yeah. Or are you just saying that for your Instagram followers, your Twitter followers?
That's another thing.
So you can sound like you're woke. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that try to sound like they woke, but still out here shooting at people, still out here robbing people. Like, how does Black Lives Matter, bro? It's all.
If you out here killing Black lives,
it's not all about. And I had this. I saw a couple of posts where it's like, man, fuck, like, there's black people saying fuck Black Lives Matter because, bro, I'm in the hood.
Because black people done killed me. They try to kill me.
Yeah,
but that's not the right attitude to have, though. Cause I
don't know, bro. It's a different dynamic, bro. Because if you was living in the hood and you saw murder, you hear gunshots every day, black on black, and then you see the same people that might have shot at you or robbed at you or try to fight you all your life, and they out there with their fist up.
Talking about Black Lives Matter,
bro.
But at the same time,
that's Black Lives Matter, bro. Well, that's the problem. We having this umbrella where it's just Black Lives Matter because of racial injustice. No. We've been killing each other. We've been killing each other for years, bro. That needs to be talked about as well.
What was you about to say?
But that's a socio-economical problem. That's not a Black Lives Matter problem, bro. You put people in low-income communities, like with redlining and things like that. Like that's what's gonna happen in those areas. It doesn't matter.
That don't justify murder, fool.
But Gabe, again, creatures of survival, bro. Creatures of survival. Like you can be upset and you can say black on black crime, but people gotta do what they gotta do to survive.
Yes.
And I don't kill to survive, bro.
But some people don't have the education or don't have the
support
system around
them. You don't
gotta
kill,
you know
but hell, if I don't got it and you do, I'm about to rob. And if you try to fight, then what's about to happen?
Certain things, like
keep it a buck, bro.
And we could be like, the privileged white people. That's what I'm saying. We could be like white privilege, like, well, you can arise from those circumstances. Not everyone has that. Not everyone has that mentality. Not everyone has that opportunity. Like sometimes you're stuck where you are, and you got to make the best of it. And that is what it is. And that's what I'm saying. So like, you got to come down from your high horse sometimes and be like, you got to be understanding in certain situations, like murder, robbing, all that shit is very, very wrong. But like when people have been in and out of prison multiple times, don't have an education, can't get a job, like you gotta understand they gotta do what they gotta do to feed their family.
Or to eat themselves.
It's a reality. Like not everything's
to eat themselves.
The rich, and the poor, bro. Like,
I see where both parts come from, bro. I understand a man from the hood that don't want to go out there and say Black Lives Matter. But if he lost his parents, he lost his brother, he lost his friends. Mm-hmm. I understand. I'm not gonna fault you, bro. I get it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can still talk about racial injustice on that, but I get if you don't feel the movement, because you've been trying to say it your whole life. Yeah. I've been trying to say my life matters. But the same person that shot at me yesterday is walking outside posting George Floyd and all that. You upset because a white man killed him?
Bro, and you know the thing that eats at me, like being like where, like...
Before you move on to that, I just want to say, you know what I'm saying, as far as white men killing black men, like why is that affecting us so much more? Like we're not outraged.
I was literally just about to speak on that. I was literally just about to speak on that.
Shootings.
I'll let Ron take that one.
Yeah.
50 shootings in Philly last week.
And you can speak on it in addition to that. But like the places that me and you come from, you know, the McDevitt's, the Romans, this diverse background. Like I've been posting things in which like, you know, that are uplifting the Black Lives Matter movement. Right. But then I have these same people who I was in the same classroom with who are in these law enforcement positions, and they're being like, well, if such and such didn't do this, well, if he wasn't a rapist, well, if he didn't have this on him, well, you know, if he would have complied, if he would have just followed the orders of the... And it's like, damn, bro, like...
All these
it's like, bro, like this is the problem here. Yeah. Like because like we see day in and day out, like, these people doing this, they're complying. They're hands up. They give you the license. They hands on the wheel.
There's so much video evidence nowadays, bro. That's scary because what if we had these video recordings 50 years back? We really see a fucking problem. We really would have been on it.
Well, that's another thing. It's always been there.
It's
just more prevalent.
I don't know if that's what you was about to say.
Well, I mean, it's just more prevalent because of our leader, for one.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't trying to get political, but that man makes people feel comfortable.
For
Again,
sure.
He makes people feel comfortable
sure,
with racist
1,000%.
words, racist actions, you feel me? But I mean, also, like, yeah, it's been prevalent. We just, cameras and social media are more prevalent now. Like, your first instinct when some wild shit happens is, oh, let me get my phone real quick, you know? So
that's another problem, real quick before we go. We've been here for a minute.
Yeah.
I had to say, I really have a problem with people just pulling out their phones nowadays before helping.
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of videos that y'all recording and you're
I'm
not
conflicted
helping.
with that.
You know, and it's not just with the
I don't
police
know how
either.
I
It's
feel.
not really with the
It
police
can be
either.
a form of help.
But like,
though.
yeah, bro, like you'll see people choking or die or bleeding on the floor from getting shot or whatever, and you recording. Like, I get it, you want to get it documented, but that man could have really used your help.
Yeah, selectivity on
you
what
know what I'm
situations
saying?
need
Like, I'm really
immediate
tired
attention. Yeah, you feel
of
me?
just
But
this
it's like,
phone
what's about
shit,
to happen
bro.
to you if you tackle this police officer?
I wasn't really just
That's
talking about the police officer aspect.
No, I'm
we
just
really
saying, like,
comfortable as a
if
culture
you're the
recording.
bystander that's recording, okay, you realize it's getting to a certain point. Let me tackle this police officer. What's gonna happen to you? And I feel like that's like the confliction that I have with it, because it's like, I feel like that's like the best thing you can do in that situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You definitely.
I mean, unless like, all right, speaking on like George Floyd, 8 minutes, like, okay, you've been recording for 8 minutes. It's time for you to do something.
Yeah.
But I can say that as the person that's viewing. I can't really say that as the person that's there in that situation.
Yeah, because that fear or that whatever hit different when there's 5 cops around you and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, listen, I really appreciate you being here, bro. It's really
Christian,
been a blessing.
I really appreciate you coming through for this, bro, because a lot of white men in America at that are not gonna have the same viewpoints as you.
Right.
And they have a completely different view. But I hope that this platform can be used as a form of insight for them.
That's the intent.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have a part 2 of this episode as well at some point. Y'all see a Christian again.
I think so.
But I really appreciate you kicking back with us, bro. Ron the Ruler at Capo 2. What's your agenda? Just punt?
Just _punt.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, punt. Brother punt. All-American punter. Hampton.
Appreciate it, bro.
But yeah, man, I really appreciate episode 8, man. It's gonna be airing next week, so